Welcome back to the Look Up Podcast. This is your host. I was about to say your boy. This is your host, Roman Downing, with my co-host here, Alani Downing.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Look Up Podcast.
Yeah.
Hope you guys had a great week. And yeah.
You said you guys had a great week?
Yeah, I hope they all had a great week. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Nice.
I hope you had a great week as well, though.
I had a great week. I did. It's that time of the year, man. It's Christmas, It's that time of the year where you should probably be grateful for a lot of the things going on in your life. And most of the time you're not. Most of the time you're just stressed out.
Because it's also just a time of year where, you can be really stressed out thinking of all the things that you have to do and the gifts you have to buy and the money you have to spend. And,
where you should just be grateful that you got the ability to spend the money.
There's also a thing that I'm struggling with too.
What?
Which is just coming to the end of the year in general and looking at how the year went. And it's been a great year. Don't get me wrong. But it's so easy because it's just we're people who never get fully satisfied. You know what I mean? There's always we all want more. It's never enough. I am guilty of that. And looking down at, what I wrote down of what I want to happen by the end of the year. And it's already the last month of the year. And 90% of those things didn't happen. But, and that's a big thing. And just also the idea of comparison and looking at other people and all of their blessings. And you're just kind of well, where's mine, God? And, even as a believer and having the idea of well, I know he's working, it's easier to say that than to actually really fully believe that in your own life, and,
what was that scripture that we heard in church the other day? It's what's it to you?
Oh yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
When the disciples were asking about, I don't know if it was John or something.
I think it was Peter asking about John.
Yeah, and then he was just well, what about him? And then Jesus was what's it to you?
Yeah, so the context of the story is that Jesus was talking to Peter and he was telling him of all these things that he's going to have to go through.
Right.
And, Peter was listening to all this stuff and it's a lot of stuff, and then he looks over at John. He's well, what about him? Does he have to go through all these stuff? And, or what's going to happen with him? And then Jesus looks to him and says, what's it to you? Why does that matter to you?
Right. So mind your blessings.
Mind your blessings. That's a good one.
Mind your business. Mind your blessings. What's it to you? What's going on in their life? What's that going to have an effect on you? Why does that matter? Why does that matter to you so much? Why do you want something that you don't have? It's like a child, you know what I mean? You have more than enough toys over here, but you looking over there at this guy's, race car set that he has, and you're I want that one too. Give me that too. So.
Or too, I think I've been getting a lot more answers this morning of just understanding God's character, that he has done so much already before in your life. He will do it again, and he's doing it now. And it may not ever look like it, but he is. And it's a constant reminder to even have to tell yourself, even when I don't see it, you're working, and I think that's why it's so difficult when people say to give praise even when it's even when you don't feel like blessings are happening.
Right.
Give praise and rejoice.
Right. It's what Judd was talking about today. How Mary, gave praise through, God bringing his son through her. And you can think about it and just be dude, that's awesome, right? But think about the situation she was in at that time, being literally, she's 16 years old at that point, and is all of a sudden pregnant, was married to another man. They had never had sex before, and how all of a sudden she's pregnant. And then she's telling everyone like, no, like I've been loyal.
Yeah.
I'm still a virgin. And then
Yeah.
they're just like, we weren't born yesterday, Mary.
Yeah, like
Who were you
we
cheating
know.
with? We know, right? Imagine the scrutiny and the stress that she was under just to still, praise as a 16-year-old girl, right? So I just think about how strong she is, and that, maybe age isn't always an indicator of maturity, I guess, for lack of a better words, is what I'm looking for here. Like at any age, at any time, God's timing is always perfect, right? He's always right on time. My mom used to always say, I've said this before in the podcast, is that, he may not come when you want him, but he gonna be right on time. Right?
Yep.
So I doubt that she wanted to be pregnant at 16. I doubt that she wanted, to have a baby.
But it's all right on time.
All right on time.
There's so often too where I look at like I'm supposed to be having this, and this. I'm this age. I need to have this done and this done and this done, or like I need to have this prepared and that prepared. Like I could give a whole laundry list. Like it's a lot that I think of, and it's just like, well, whatever happens, I just know that he's right on time.
Yep.
As long as I'm following through in my faith and that's it. That's all I gotta have.
Yeah.
Then I know like he's following through right on time.
Right. It's in his timing, like, not ours.
It's true. Like I was listening to Firm Foundation this morning, and it's I think it's the title. No, he won't. I don't know what the title is.
He won't.
But it's like he's never failed me yet. You know? He's the rock on which I stand. Why would he fail now? And he won't. He really won't. And I think it's so hard for me to think of that sometimes because it's so easy when you're on Instagram. And that's why it's like I had to delete Instagram again. I have a love and hate relationship with that app. I'm on it, and then I get in my head sometimes, and it's hard not to. You see all of the high points in people's lives, and you see them at different stages, and you're like, wow, it's easy to almost become envious of them. And
for sure.
And you just got to know, like, and then you start thinking in your life, like, I'm failing, I'm a loser, like I'm not where they're at, so therefore I suck. And it's so easy to then start tearing your own self apart off of like one or two images that you've seen online.
Right.
And like remembering that, like, and sometimes even I think like, man, like I'm not getting any blessings. You know what I mean? Like it feels like, I don't want to say it, but sometimes I feel like, man, I feel like God's failing me in this moment. You know what I mean? And he's giving all these other people blessings, and I feel like I'm getting nothing, and I feel like alone and sad. You know what I mean? And I just have to remember that, he's never failed me yet.
Mm-hmm.
He's been faithful through generations.
Right.
So why would he fail now?
Right.
He won't.
And your little business that you want to start, or your little real estate or whatever, or your little, podcast even. He's had bigger fish to fry before, and he's cooked them perfectly.
That's true. He's never
So
failed.
Why the hell why would he fail now?
An entire,
generation.
He's entire generations. Yeah.
Right. He saved entire generations before. He gonna follow through on your little business, okay? Just be patient.
On whatever it is. It could, maybe not just financially, but maybe in like your relationships,
right? That
feel completely broken, or maybe it's in your mental health that feels completely unstable, and you don't feel like you'll ever be able to come out of these anxiety attacks, or just deep depressions. Like it feels completely hopeless, or you maybe feel like it in your you feel so lonely, and like you feel like you don't have any friends or people around you that care for you, and you don't know how to make these friends or find these type like good quality friendships. And a lot of different things can make you feel really, really hopeless. And obviously finances, like I was talking about, like being at Christmas season, and it feels like maybe just not enough money to make ends meet, or to give like how you want to give, or pay bills and invest and
he's the
growth,
God of the big problems and the small problems. Like
everything.
I said, like, oh, your little business or your little real estate or your your little anxiety problem, but that just because we put little in front of it doesn't mean it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It doesn't mean that it's not important to God. All of your problems are important to God, no matter big or how small they are. He's the God of all of them,
Right.
not just the God of the big problems. He's the God of everything, and He's going to take care of it. It's like what you said. He won't fail.
Yeah. So that's been on my mind just over the past week.
Yep.
Just really going through that, and sometimes feeling like I'm lost, but I have a plan, but I still feel lost. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way before, but that's just kind of like where things have been. And
Yep.
I think it's like why I have just always learning more and more about God, and even things that you feel like you do know. It's more than just a head thing. It's like being able to really feel that in your heart and spirit, and let
Right.
that like fuel your soul.
Right.
And fill that. I mean, because he fills the needs of his people. And he loves those regardless.
Yep.
What about you? What's been, on your heart or mind since we last talked to the people?
I think the main thing is that for me recently is that I don't know, you got to make compromises in some relationships and seek to understand other people. I think that's what we were put on this earth for, but humans are just so complex. We're so complexly made, and a lot of the times it feels like we don't know the solutions to a lot of the relational problems that we have and stuff like that, and maybe it's not up to you to figure it out. As a man, you always want to fix everything. You put on your tool belt and you fix stuff, and you fix the light bulb in the house, and you fix the creaky chair, and you fix the table, and you take that mentality and you try to bring a drill to every problem. But sometimes it's not you that needs to be doing the fixing. It's somebody else in a higher power, in God, right? That needs to heal those relationships. That needs to heal those hurts, those habits, those hangups. And it's not even you. It's not even your job. It's not even your responsibility. And I think sometimes we can get stressed out on those things and start thinking that we are God and we are supposed to heal those relationships and we are supposed to fix those relationships, especially as a man. And sometimes you just got to go to prayer and just be like, hey, God, Lord, I need you. I need you right now. Like I tried everything. God. I need you right now. I'm done. I just need you.
Wow.
And sometimes you just need to come to him like that in a lot of different things, not just the physical, but the spiritual, the mental, and the relational parts of your life. I think about my mom and how she has such a strained relationship with my brother, and she's just constantly just trying to fix it. And I think maybe she just needs to let it go and go to God and just be like, God, I done tried everything with this boy. I need you. I need you.
What made you come to that realization?
I think if you just realize that,
like, what changed?
I think if you just realize that you can't make anybody happy in this life, not your spouse, not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your sister, you are not responsible. You are not responsible for their life. You're not responsible for their happiness. You just aren't. And I think there is like a common misconception. You didn't tilted it sideways.
It looked sideways, like I think it moved.
It wasn't sideways. It was good.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. Woohoo! There's a common misconception that as a man, you need to be responsible for your wife and make sure she's happy and make sure she has everything that she needs, and she could never want for anything. But when you do that, you put yourself in a position that you can't fill. You can't fill that void that God needs to fill in her heart. So she's always going to be unhappy and you're always going to be unhappy. Even if you're like a 5-star rock star husband, multimillionaire, you buy her everything. Why those relationships always fall out from underneath themselves and why they get divorces, like why these multimillionaires, they separate. You look at the Bezos family, they separated. You look at all of these people that should have everything, that shouldn't have any problems. Why do they still have marital challenges? It's because those men, they feel like they need to fill a void in that woman's heart that is not supposed to be filled by you. It's just not. And then there's just a strain there, and you're just looking for something that's not there. And that's why you just gotta go to God and just be like, hey, Lord, I'm coming to you right now. I need your help right now in my relationship, in my marriage, with my brother, with my sister, because it's not your job. You're working above your pay grade. That's not on your pay grade right now. You're not a professional.
That's true. And I feel like I look back, like as you're talking, I'm thinking about a lot of times where I do that. And like, you just feel nothing but frustrated. And it's just like, you feel like, okay, well, I'm giving 100% and I'm giving everything. And like, I'm trying new things and trying everything. But it's like, it's not working out because it's like, you weren't the one that's meant to fix it. That's like, it's like, I was thinking of an example. Like, imagine me, who really knows nothing about like the mechanics of a car. It's just like, you need help with an oil change.
Right.
And I come over and I'm like playing around with different things. Like I'm trying really, really
like,
hard.
This should work.
But I don't know how to do it.
This should work. I seen this on YouTube, or I saw my friend and she did this, and this and got her car to work. Like, okay, maybe she got lucky.
Or I end up making it worse because I put like the wrong oil or I put the wrong amount or like I forgot to drain it or whatever it may be.
Right.
It's it's kind of like, it's like that in our lives and in our relationships. Because even us, like I try to like do things for you and like all of this. And I think, okay, this is what Roman needs. And I'm trying really, really, really hard. And like, I feel like I'm doing all the right things in my mind, but there's like parts of Roman that I just will never fully understand. And only God really knows.
And there's parts of Alani that I'll never fully understand. And there's parts of your wife that you'll never fully understand. And you have to be okay and comfortable with that. And I think in a lot of relationships, they aren't. And they're always trying to fix it and fix it and fix it and fix it and fix it. And eventually you break it.
And I think that's maybe where the saying goes, like, let go and let God.
Let it go. Have you ever tried to fix something that low-key just wasn't even like broke in the first place, and then you end up breaking it?
I had these pair of glasses. Remember my clear glasses? They weren't broken. The clear ones that like you have to fix to like get on your head. So I had these clear glasses and I like was trying to, they fit on me. It was perfect. It was fine. But I was just like, maybe I could just
fix it a little bit more.
Adjust it a little bit more. So I twisted it this way thinking that, I don't know, the physics, I don't know. I thought it was going to go this way. But yeah, I snapped it and I had to throw them away.
Isn't that funny? Working perfectly fine.
It was working fine.
Working fine for you. You could see.
I could see.
There was no problem.
It fit on my face. It was comfortable.
You just wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, I just thought, I was like, maybe if I twisted it just a little bit more, it would fit a little bit more straight on my face.
Don't we do
it would
that?
fix so my lashes don't touch the rims.
Don't we do that, bro? With everything. Yeah. You got a great relationship. Great relationship. I'm speaking to somebody out there. You got a great relationship, a great guy or a great girl, but you just want to fix it a little bit more. I just want to fix him a little bit more, or I want to fix her a little bit more. I've seen it tons of times where they were great relationship, great couple, like they're amazing together, but there was just that one thing that he didn't like about her, or it was that one thing.
And it wasn't like a non-negotiable type of thing. It was just a little thing that, I don't know, maybe like a habit that they did. Or,
and then that was the thing that broke it. That made you break up. That made the relationship break. Trying to fix something that didn't need to be fixed.
I know. And there's even things like, there's movies on it too, where it's like, oh, they have the money, but they feel like they just need a little bit more. So they're going to invest in something risky and now they're bankrupt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or like, and now they're broke and, you know, doing too much with trying to chase different things. Like, you know that movie with Adam Sandler, the jewelry guy? And he was like, he was fine, right? Like he was wealthy and good already. Or like, and he hit like a big jackpot, but he thought, oh, I can just get a little bit more, just a little bit more. And next thing you know, like.
He broke something that didn't need to be fixed.
That didn't need to be fixed.
And sometimes you just need to know when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop.
And I think that's our problems, is like we never know when enough is enough.
Because it's 20/80. You can go 20% of the way, God has to go the rest of the 80. But we think it's like 95.
Like, God won't show up unless I give 100. You know what I mean?
I'll give 100 and God's going to put the extra 10% on top. Right?
Yeah.
But really, you have no power.
Yeah.
Your reach is very small. If you
Which
can
is like hard to
that.
think. And it's like, that's what I was talking about last week about like this hustle mindset where it's all about you and like what you can control and you got the power in yourself to do things.
No,
and it's you and you and you. And
you
so I think it gets into our heads that I really am. You
start thinking that you're a God.
Like I can control all my circumstances.
You start thinking you're a God.
And I've met people like that where it's like
they genuinely believe that they
are
God.
Result they have in their life, they think it was all them.
Yep.
With the help of no one, nothing. They have all the answers. But that's what it's their mind.
But that's what our culture
culture breeds. Yeah.
We perpetuate it.
Yeah.
Is that you don't need anyone else but you. You got you. You a boss babe. You're a top G. You know what I mean? You can control top everything G. In your life. You know, we literally teach that.
Yeah.
And if that's the truth, where's God?
Right.
There's no room for him.
And I think that's where so many people.
You need to build God room.
Like I say, you know, I think that's why sometimes it's like when you get too focused on like that type of stuff, you start serving that, you start
worshiping that.
You start worshiping that. And I think that's where so many people end up falling out of faith.
Yep.
Or why people don't believe there is a God, because they're like, well, I got all the power. And it's crazy because there's a video, remember I was telling you about modern day Satanism, where it's not like all of the quote unquote like scary rituals and stuff, but it was this chick and she was talking about it. It was a YouTube video I saw, and because I was interested in it, and she said like, no, I'm a modern day Satanist. It basically means that like we believe that like we ourselves have the power to do and control our life. Like we don't have to rely on any external forces.
Right.
And I was like, that's so interesting because yet they called that Satanism. So when you look at like the opposite and of what God is, and you know, God is there to help you, and you start looking to the opposite of that, which is Satanism, and you're thinking only you can help you, not Satan in terms of this modern day Satanist, but you. And I think that's what the enemy wants us to believe, is that he might not even say, you need me, like you need me as Satan, I got your back. He's going to try and trick and say that you only need you. You don't need a God.
Right.
You don't need any higher power.
Well, what did he do in the beginning of time?
What did he do to trick Eve?
I ain't new. These ain't new tricks.
But it's funny because it's like we think like, oh, Satan, he's gonna come in and he's gonna trick
you. Not that clever,
and think it's him, and like you gotta worship me because you think, oh, look, a hummingbird.
It's hella obvious.
Yesterday I saw two hummingbirds dancing around each other.
Wow.
And they when I was walking Audie, I saw two hummingbirds, and they were like
Hunger Games.
Hungerbirds. I saw two hummingbirds, and they.
No, I said Hunger Games.
Oh, why?
I don't know. For some reason, hummingbirds remind me of the Hunger Games.
Oh, I thought I said Hungerbirds. No. So that's why you said Hunger Games.
But anyways,
let's
go ahead and wrap up because we are going a little bit long and a little bit off topic. Maybe in future episodes we'll start talking about different stuff and talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the world and our opinions on those things and stuff like that. And we're still gonna keep it God centered and stuff like that. But
like what? What do you want to talk about?
Just anything, movies. I love movies.
So we saw Black Panther and Roman cried.
I did not cry.
It's a great movie.
I did not cry. Alani cried.
I cry actually in everything. If it's slightly emotional, a tear will well up.
Yeah, she cries literally every day.
I do cry every day. I'm an emotional being. I'm very in touch with my emotions.
Right, see, stuff like this.
And I'm not afraid of that.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe we could start doing longer ones, like an hour or so, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, let us know if you guys even, if you want to hear any of that. But honestly, sometimes we've kind of switched up the pod. I think we've kind of talked about it. It's really more of like, now we're just focusing it on really, truly just being a big passion part of it and less business side of the podcasting world. And I think that's has really opened up our hearts to wanting to share more things and talk about more things and not being so like caught up in like the legalities of it all.
Right.
And getting sponsorships and stuff like that.
Getting paid.
Yeah.
But perfect, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
What do we end every podcast on?
We ended on the Bible verse we named the podcast after.
Which is?
John 3:16.
Oh, wow. Psalms 121 verses 1 through 3.
Yep.
Wow.
I lift my eyes up to the mountains. Because where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He made the mountains. He made the heavens. He made the challenges.
From death
To life. He is the conqueror.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. Check us out at the Lookup Pod on, I almost said Facebook. We're not on Facebook. On Instagram, not on Twitter.
Check us out
TikTok,
on MySpace.
YouTube, MySpace, Snapchat. What is that?
Check us out on Vine.
I'm not going to say it. Okay. Bye.
Check us out on Vine, y'all.